I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Hormone Harmony by Happy Mammoth, the supplement that helps women maintain optimal hormone levels with over 50,000 glowing reviews from women worldwide and 98% saying they'd recommend it to friends and family. Now, they're taking those results even further by pairing it with a prebiotic collagen protein, which helps to restore gut lining integrity, promoting overall hormonal balance. It helps to relieve occasional bloating and gas, reduce sugar cravings, support sustainable weight management, and boost energy. I know I'm not the only one who's struggled with occasional digestive issues and brain fog, but Happy Mammoth is dedicated to making women's lives easier. And that means using only science-backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. Right now, you can try prebiotic collagen protein and Hormone Harmony risk-free and get 15% off your first order with code ATTWG at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code ATTWG for 15% off today. Have you ever noticed how many unnecessary chemicals are in your cleaning products? When I started looking into what I was actually using around my home, I realized that my laundry detergent was one of the worst offenders. So many popular brands are packed with the harsh chemicals that can irritate your skin, mess up your hormones, and cause allergic reactions. But I don't want all of that, so I switched to EarthBreeze. Their detergent sheets are free from harsh chemicals like optical brighteners, dyes, parabens, phosphates, and preservatives. Plus, they don't come in those heavy plastic jugs. It's no mess and no mystery ingredients. Just a lightweight, pre-measured sheet that dissolves in the wash and gets the job done. And yes, your clothes still come out clean, fresh, and soft. So if you're looking for a powerful clean without harsh chemicals, try EarthBreeze. It's easy to switch, and if you're not completely satisfied, they have an amazing money-back guarantee. Right now, you can try EarthBreeze for up to 40% off plus 4 free gifts at earthbreeze.com/ATTWG. That's earthbreeze.com/ATTWG for 40% off plus 4 free gifts.
One of the hardest parts of getting older is feeling like something's off in your body, but not knowing exactly what. It's not just aging, it's often your hormones too. When they fall out of balance, everything feels off. But here's the good news. This doesn't have to be the story of your next chapter. Hormone Harmony by Happy Mammoth is an herbal formula made with science-backed ingredients designed to fine-tune your hormones by balancing estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, and even stress hormones like cortisol. It helps with common issues such as hot flashes, poor sleep, low energy, bloating, and more. With over 40,000 reviews and a bottle sold every 24 seconds, the results speak for themselves. A survey found 86% of women lost weight, 77% saw an improved mood, and 100% felt like themselves again. Start your next chapter feeling balanced and in control. For a limited time, get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com with code NEXTCHAPTER at checkout. Visit happymammoth.com today and get your old self back naturally.
On July 27th, 2021, 5-year-old Michael Vaughan's father went to go check on Michael's younger sister and order a pizza. He was out of the room for 15 or 20 minutes, but when he came back, his little boy was gone. Police in Fruitland, Idaho, along with other agencies, launched a massive search, but no trace of the boy was found. Nearly a year and a half went by until seemingly out of nowhere, an arrest was made. Who was arrested, and what does this person have to say about what happened to Michael Vaughan? When a person goes missing, there's a special kind of pain in the not knowing. I want to tell the stories of those who never came home. Today, I want to update you on the story of Michael Vaughan. I'm Kona Gallagher.
And I'm Ethan Flick.
And this is And Then They Were Gone. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
So there has been huge news this week in the case of Michael Vaughan, which we covered back in December of 2021. And it was a very new case at that point. I mean, not even 6 months old. And usually we don't cover cases that recent because, as we talk about many times in this podcast, 99% of missing people are found, fairly quickly. And so, for a case to be quote unquote unsolved, you have to wait a while just by the nature of it.
Right.
But this one struck me, and it just seemed to be the kind of situation that wasn't going to be resolved easily. And so that's why I thought it was important to, at least quickly cover it in a bonus episode.
I don't remember it being a bonus episode. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was, because it was in December and we were taking a break between seasons.
Oh.
Yeah, but I've been seeing so much about him online that I just really wanted to tell his story. And so we came back for a little bonus episode.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was super impactful.
Yeah.
At least to me, to us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And what's been really hard about this is that the investigation has been going on. But, that's not to say it doesn't have any faults, right? Because we talk even in that episode about how the timeline of events has always been squishy, and the cops haven't really released, I feel, as much information as they could in order to have people help as much as they could.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fruitland Police have been asking for the public's assistance since the beginning, but they're just not giving enough information to work with. And I'll kind of talk about this a little bit more at the end, but what has happened, what I've seen, because I'm, immersed in the online, missing person, true crime community, is I've seen the lack of information coupled with, the family and the police asking for help kind of melding together into this situation where people have been going rogue, so people have been doing their own real life investigations. They have been driving to this neighborhood. They have been questioning neighbors. They have been standing in front of houses and screaming. They have been saying shit online. They have been accusing people of different things. It has been intense over the past year and a half.
And you think that has to do with the lack of a hard timeline being released by the police?
Yeah, I do think that that's a contributing factor for sure, because when you have people online who, genuinely in their heart, they start from a good place, right? They want to help, they want to find a child. And when you don't have actual facts, you kind of start to fill them in yourselves. And people have been doing that and then coming up with these theories and then coming up with oh, well, this is suspicious, that is suspicious. And it's been a lot. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it to somebody like you who is not involved in this and who does not see this online every day.
Yeah, right. I'm what some people would call normal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, it's been so much. And this arrest that happened this week flies in the face of what a lot of people have been theorizing and, about online and kind of making accusations about. But again, we don't need to get into all that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the end. I just, it is just one of those things that the rest, is one of those things that seemingly came out of nowhere. So on November 11th, 2022, the first arrest was made in this case. And I say first because it is pretty clear based on what Fruitland police have said since then that there are more people involved. And this is not the happy ending that we were all hoping for, of course, because Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff has publicly stated that they are looking for remains currently.
Right.
But I'm happy that Michael's family has at least more of a chance to get some answers than they did a week ago. And so I've been talking about all of this all week on TikTok. So, make sure you're following us there if you want to see the real-time, unhinged videos that I've been posting. And if you are coming here from TikTok, this is actually what we usually do, which is we kind of gather and I research and we put everything together into one coherent place instead of a million 60-second videos. So this episode is going to be what we've learned in the past week, but this is by no means the end of the story. There's so much more that's going to be happening in this, and we will continue to follow up with this until we have some sort of a resolution. But the purpose of this episode is to gather all the thoughts that I've been putting out in these videos into one, hopefully more coherent place. And like we usually do when we have updates on cases, I'll also put the original episode at the end of this so that you can get more context as to all of the circumstances behind Michael's disappearance. So we're going to have the update first, and then if you want more context, you can listen after the credits to the original episode. So anyway, with that extremely longer than usual preamble behind us, let's get to the updates in the Michael Vaughan case. Michael Joseph Vaughan is one of 4 children belonging to Brandy Neal and Tyler Vaughan. He has an older brother and sister as well as a younger sister. The family lives in Fruitland, Idaho, which is a small town in southwest Idaho. It's about 50 miles from Boise and it borders Oregon. And that's helpful to know because a lot of my research led to Oregon. And I had forgotten because it had been, almost a year since we did our first episode on this, that Fruitland was basically on the border of Oregon. And I just kept on seeing all these references to Oregon. I'm like, well, that seems weird. What a coincidence. But I just don't know geography, as it turns out. It's really all that is. A lot of people in this area kind of bounce back and forth between the states. One of the frustrations with this case is that, like I said, the exact timeline has been hard to nail down. But the best we figured is between 6:30 and 7 p.m., Tyler went to go check on Arya, the baby, and order a pizza. When he returned to the living room where Michael was playing video games, like I said, about 15 to 20 minutes later, Michael was gone. He, went out and looked for him, couldn't find him, and then immediately called Brandy at work to tell her that Michael had seemingly disappeared. He couldn't find him. By the time Brandy got home from work, neighbors were out searching and the police had arrived. So there was a very fast response to this, both from the neighbors and Fruitland Police. Neighbors later said that they witnessed Michael knocking on doors right before his disappearance. One neighbor whose door he knocked on said that he was asking if her child could come out and play. So the child either wasn't there or the neighbor told Michael to go ask his parents first. Either way, she watched Michael until he got to his yard and then she went back inside. Then after that, though, another neighbor saw him running down the block, but she didn't think it was weird because he was heading toward where some other kids were playing. So basically, he was just out looking for kids to play with. Now, when police arrived, they brought canines in immediately. According to Brandy, the dogs caught Michael's scent and tracked it to the end of their street away from the farm field to the right of the house and then stopped abruptly. The FBI and other agencies were called in and the search continued.
Right. So the canine losing the scent abruptly indicates that there was a car involved.
Right.
That's the only way that a scent breaks so abruptly.
Typically. Yeah,
usually,
exactly.
Yeah.
We talked about this in the original episode. Fruitland Police is a very small agency. I think there are 11 cops there or something. So they very quickly called in the FBI, which is great. Despite this, there were scant clues, but there were a few vehicles and persons of interest that police released. And then, one was this like white Honda Pilot, and that was a whole big thing. And that was something that went on until very recently. And it's only recently that police say like that Honda Pilot, which was a white 2010 to 2016 model that was seen about a block away, doesn't have any connection to the house that is in question now. There was also a few people who are caught on like Ring doorbell cameras and things like that, who police couldn't identify for a long time and who didn't come forward. There was one man who was on Southwest 8th Street, again, a block away from Michael's home, and he was wearing a white t-shirt and black shorts. He had dark hair. Now, this is the guy that police like apparently could not identify for months, although I did just read that they think they know who he is and that they don't think that he's involved. So why he didn't come forward, I don't know, but it seems as though maybe he was a red herring along with the Honda Pilot. So those were just a few, though, of the tips that came in. Those were like the most actionable ones that they got. But early on, police received like over 500 tips. I mean, very quickly, but they really didn't seem to lead anywhere. And, we did the case in December of 2021, and basically all this year, like there really have not been any more updates. And so that's why I was really surprised to hear on November 13th that Fruitland Police announced an arrest. Chief J.D. Huff said that based on what he called, quote, a very credible tip, end quote, Fruitland Police executed a search warrant at 1102 Red Wing Street on November 11th. This led to the arrest of one of the home's occupants, 35-year-old Sarah Wandra. Sarah lives in the home with her husband, Stacy, but Stacy is currently in jail in Washington County, Idaho, on unrelated charges. On Friday, the 11th, Sarah was charged with failure to report a death.
Look, teaching your kids about money is hard, especially when you didn't really grow up knowing about money yourself like me. And that's why I love Acorns Early. They make it so easy for us. And they know that you have a lot on your plate, so they help you teach your kids about money one small step at a time. Our youngest has been using it, and he loves logging into the app himself and checking his balance and figuring out what he wants to spend his money on and what he wants to save up for. And it's so important to start building your kids' money skills early. With Acorns Early, they can learn by doing and watch as the small steps they take today grow into big potential for tomorrow. Kids can earn money with the in-app chores tracker, practice real-life budgeting with automatic allowances, and even set their own saving goals. Ready to join over 1.2 million parents and kids who've unlocked their kids' potential with Acorns Early? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/ATTWG or download the Acorns Early app. That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/ATTWG.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/earlyterms.
I don't know how it happened, but holiday shopping season is officially here. Uncommon Goods takes the stress out of gifting with thousands of unique, high-quality finds that you won't see anywhere else. They have something for everyone, from moms and dads to kids and teens, from book lovers, history buffs, and diehard football fans to foodies, mixologists, and avid gardeners. You'll find thousands of new gift ideas that you won't find anywhere else. I've been on their site and I was perusing the teen section because I feel like shopping for kids is so hard nowadays. And I found this really cool inkless instant photo and label printer. You can take pictures on your phone and then print them out. And because it's inkless, you don't have to keep on buying refills, which would relegate it to the junk drawer. It looks like a really cool gift, and honestly, I kind of want it for myself.
So don't wait. Cross those names off your list before the rush. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/ATTWG. That's uncommongoods.com/ATTWG for 15% off. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Let me tell you about the online cannabis company that's revolutionizing how we deal with life's challenges, from sleepless nights to stress-filled days. Mood.com has created an entire line of functional gummies that target specific health concerns with 100% federally legal THC blends. Even better, you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code ATTWG. If you're like me, then you have different family members who have different ailments, and I've recommended Mood to all of them. I legitimately, before recording this, I told my mom about Mood, and she's going to make her first order. Because they have gummies for all sorts of things, for pain relief, for sleeping, for just improving your mood. Their gummies are specially blended and each one feels different. The Sleepy Time gummies knock me out in 15 minutes flat with no hangovers, no grogginess, and I wake up feeling amazing. And each gummy is crafted using federally legal cannabis grown on small, family-owned American farms. Best of all, not only does Mood stand behind everything with an industry-leading 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but, as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code ATTWG. So head to Mood.com, browse their amazing selection of functional gummies, and find the perfect gummy for whatever you're dealing with. And remember to use promo code ATTWG at checkout to save 20% on your first order.
So how did they get to the conclusion that she failed to report a death? Because you said at the beginning that they hadn't found anything yet.
Right. And at the time of this recording, they still haven't. So as of this moment, Michael has not been found. So I and a lot of other people, did find it very interesting that they were confident enough
to announce that.
Yeah.
That they were charging her.
Yeah,
with
that particular charge, right? Because, if it were just an instance that we've seen before in other cases of them trying to find something to charge her with to hold her so that they could try to get more information, I feel like there are probably other charges that they could have come up with that weren't failure to report a death. Because to me, you have to have something to back that up, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't have a body, you have to have something else that's pretty good, one would think. So we don't know exactly what that is. But, it goes back to JD Huff saying it was a very credible tip. So we can only infer what that tip must have been at this point. So the next day, the 12th, Saturday, police began digging in the backyard where Sarah and Stacy lived with a backhoe in hopes of finding the missing little boy. Now, this is not a large yard. We're not talking multiple acres or anything like that. We're talking a decent sized yard.
But like a standard
a single family home. I mean, it
house.
Looks similar to like our yard. I mean, it's just a yard,
Right.
Despite that, Chief Huff warned the public that this was not going to be a quick process, saying, quote, "It's going to take us a while to get this done, but we're not going to stop. We're pretty confident in the information we received," end quote.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that really makes me wonder what the source of the information was.
That's what everybody's wondering, right? Because the other thing that Chief Huff said initially in that first press conference was that the occupants of the house, who we know now to be Sarah and Stacy, were renters and that they didn't believe that the owners were involved.
Okay.
And that is going to be extremely interesting as we go on. So the dig started Saturday and continued in the days that followed. Huff told reporters that dirt removed from the backyard is being taken to another location for processing. He also confirmed that cadaver dogs are brought in. Like I said, as of this recording, the digs are still happening and are expected to possibly continue for another week.
And did he say anything about cadaver dogs hitting on anything?
Somebody had asked me on TikTok, they're like, what are they doing? Are they like literally sifting through every scoopful of dirt? And
yes,
that actually does seem pretty much like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because
they're literally looking for any human remains.
Right.
Look, a backhoe is a big machine. Yes, it digs dirt up quickly, but it can also disturb remains. But, they're looking for any kind of evidence of a body being in that backyard.
Right. And if you listen to our coverage or of the Kristen Smart case, or if you listen to the Your Own Backyard podcast, there are a lot of indicators of a body being buried somewhere that go beyond human remains.
Right.
And so I think they are looking into all of that very carefully. So at the top of everybody's list of questions, of which there are a million, has to be, who is Sarah Wandra?
Right.
Like, who is this lady who they think knows about Michael's death? We immediately found out that she is not somebody who Michael's family knows. So despite, her house being like 4 minutes away is what the news reports kept saying. I Google mapped it. It's about a half mile away. So it's like a 4-minute drive. But,
close, but not like a
direct neighbor.
Direct neighbor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense that they wouldn't know each other, but very much in the area. And same with their husband, Stacy. Like, they don't know him either. They do not know these people. The thing that's so upsetting, I shouldn't say the thing as if there's only one. There are many things that are so upsetting about this entire situation. But if this tip proves to be accurate, then that means that Michael never left the area, that he has been within a half a mile of his home this entire time. Now, keep in mind that Sarah Wandra hasn't been charged with physically harming Michael, at least not yet. Right now, they're only saying that she knows what happened to him. Now, there was some information that was reported on that came from the probable cause affidavit, but that has since been sealed by the judge. The affidavit has. So even though I read some of the information, I wasn't able to get a hold of the documents themselves, but there were a few Idaho newspapers who reported on it before it was sealed. So I was able to read some quotes from the affidavit that were very illuminating. But again, since it has been sealed, I don't want to get into the specifics of it. But what I will say is that her statements on the day of her arrest make it seem like Fruitland police are indeed on the right track. So knowing that the answers to Michael's disappearance could very well be in his neighborhood, it's important to talk about the area. Now, one of the first things that both police and the public keyed in on during the initial investigation, we're talking days after his disappearance, is the large number of registered sex offenders near Michael's home. Just to put this in perspective, I put in our address to search for registered sex offenders.
Do I want to hear this?
Well, I don't know. I think it might make you feel okay. Not great. But if you put in our address, there are 7 offenders who pop up nearby. When you put in Michael's address, there are 64.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So it's a lot. And to be fair, because they are so close to Oregon, I think part of some of those people are in Oregon, but I don't think the state borders necessarily matter.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, 64. And listen, we don't live in a gated community or anything like that. It's not like there are so fewer sex offenders here because we live in some crazy.
No, we live on a main thoroughfare of our town.
Yeah. So because everybody was aware of this large number of registered sex offenders, That was, of course, one of the first things that the police investigated. So, they interviewed registered sex offenders early on. Like, that was very much a part of the investigation. But despite recent speculation that I have been seeing online since the arrest, neither Sarah nor her husband Stacy are on that list. They do, however, have extensive criminal records, but not for anything involving sexual assault of a minor or otherwise. In fact, their crimes are mostly nonviolent, like theft, mail fraud, identity theft, things like that. I mean, it's more like financial than anything else. I was looking at, one of their social media accounts, and there was like an old business partner who was accusing them of stealing from him. It's stuff like that. So Sarah and Stacy were married on April 13th, 2018. I mentioned Sarah's 35, Stacy's currently 30. They bounced back and forth between Fruitland and Oregon, and they got arrested in both places. At one point, Stacy actually had a fugitive warrant out for him, like from Oregon. Like when they came back to Fruitland, he was an Oregon, like fugitive. Both of them have a large presence on social media that has not been locked down by authorities yet. So it's still there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Especially Sarah. Like she was very, like literally posting multiple times a day, like that type. And if you take like a basic look at their social media, you see a lot of pictures of them together, a lot of pictures of them in bed together, kissing and, a lot of whatever, like very together. But it does seem as though their marriage was initially rocky because court records show that Sarah filed for divorce in 2019, just before their 1-year anniversary. But it does seem as though this was abandoned because it seems as though like Stacy didn't respond and then it said it was vacated. I don't know, like it just didn't seem like it actually went through. And by October of that year, they were seemingly back in love and doing crimes. Stacy was arrested in Oregon for several counts of theft and writing a bad check. Sarah was arrested that same day for multiple counts of theft, as well as theft or receipt of stolen mail and identity theft. On April 13th, 2022, their 4th anniversary, the couple was arrested again.
Happy anniversary.
I know. I don't remember what we did for our 4th anniversary, but I mean, nothing that exciting. I can tell you that. They were both charged with unlawful possession of a gun by a felon. So by this point, they both had felony records, but again, they were just...
Right. It's not violent felonies, but they're still
right.
felonies.
Exactly. So his was from writing bad checks. Hers was from like identity theft or something. I don't know exactly which one was a felony. Probably the mail fraud.
Yeah. But felony plus firearms should be 5 years.
Well, yeah. So we'll get to that. So that's what they were arrested for.
That's what they were originally charged with.
Yes.
Okay.
So on April 13th of this year, Stacy was only charged with that. Sarah was charged with that and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, destruction of evidence, battery, and possession of a controlled substance.
Okay.
And all of this was very confusing to me because law enforcement records aren't great.
No, they are not.
Especially when you're skipping around jurisdictions. So it was very confusing to me because they were both arrested on these charges in April. And I had heard before I started looking into this that Stacy was currently in jail. And then I saw this arrest. I was like, oh, in April, like, okay. And then I'm going through because they were arrested in Payette County, which is the county that Fruitland is in. So I'm like looking through the Payette County records. It has all of like the hearings, right? So it's like the plea, the evidentiary hearing, the preliminary hearing, do. And then it's like May 17th, case dismissed. And then the same thing for Sarah. And it's like all of these charges. And then it says case dismissed. And I said, that's weird.
Case dismissed.
Right. And I was like, that's crazy. And so when you can see it in one of my videos, and I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know. I kept on hearing that he's in jail, but according to this, like his case was dismissed in May. So I don't know. But what I have learned from another helpful TikTok watcher is that he is currently being held in Washington County, Idaho. And I don't know why specifically Washington County, but it sounds like he is being held there on the federal gun charges. So I don't know if this makes sense. Like, you tell me, like, is it a thing to be held in a county jail for a federal crime when you're awaiting trial? Because he got transferred there. So that's the thing. Like, those charges were dismissed in Payette County, because the county is like, this is not our deal, is what it sounds like. We're just kicking it over to the feds. And then Stacy has been in Washington County ever since, awaiting his trial on these federal gun charges.
That's not actually that surprising, especially considering this seems like not a rural area, but not a big city.
Yeah.
So the thing about the feds is that they don't have housing facilities for federal violators awaiting trial.
Okay, so there are no like federal jails that you sit in when you're
No. So it's they obviously use local jails to hold until trial, and then yes, there are federal prisons.
Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's no like just weird random pop-up federal jails where they're just going to hold
like the Harry
federal.
Potter experience.
Yeah,
just like a pop-up, like
that's not really a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, and I don't know. And
so like in DC, anybody that's arrested on a federal level in DC goes to the central cell block of DC.
Oh, okay.
So it's DC Department of Corrections that's housing them. But then the U.S. Marshals will go pick up the federal prisoners and take them to court.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense. I unfortunately did not do the research into like the size of Payette County versus the size of Washington County. But if we're thinking that Washington County is like bigger, has more capacity, whatever.
Yeah, that would probably make sense.
Then that's why he's being held there.
Yeah.
So it does seem like that's why the charges were dismissed in Payette, because they're just kicking him over to the feds, like I said. What's interesting is that he's in jail, but Sarah is not, and she had many more charges against her.
Right. But if they're exclusively turning this over to a federal case, the feds are probably going to drop the charges that wouldn't hold up in a federal prosecution.
Right. So like the battery charge or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense.
This is all getting very court technical
I know.
and
It is.
shit, but like that's the way the courts operate.
So my guess, and I don't know this for certain, is that Sarah's family bailed her out and Stacy did not get bailed out. And that's why he's in Washington. Because, and again, I didn't know what was going on with Sarah. Like, I just saw that charges were dismissed. But at her arraignment on Monday, the prosecutor mentioned how she is awaiting trial on federal gun charges. So she's awaiting trial just like Stacy is. But she was until last Friday out. And that is important for what, I'm going to go into. All right. So we talked about who Sarah and Stacy Wander are, but how did this couple who has no known connection to Michael and who mainly just tried to steal money from people for many years, get wrapped up in this whole mess. And, this is, of course, where we have to start speculating because we don't have any hard answers.
Right.
Chief Huff has publicly stated that the credible tip came from someone inside the house.
So his words were somebody inside the house.
Yes.
Somebody that lives inside the house, or because we're talking about owners versus renters also.
He made a point to say that the owners were not involved.
Not involved does not mean they were not the tipsters.
That's true. That's true. So I don't know, but he said inside the house. He didn't say associated with the house. I feel like inside the house is a very specific thing to say.
It does lend itself to being somebody that lives
right
inside.
He didn't
the house.
use the word lives.
Right. Somebody inside the house.
Yeah.
Not lives inside the house.
Right. If we're talking about inside the house to mean people who live inside the house, from what I've been able to find, despite there's been some talk about a roommate or whatever, I haven't been able to find any evidence of a roommate. From what I have been able to find, Sarah and Stacy are the only people who currently live in that home.
At least legally.
Right. But I was talking about another case with somebody like yesterday, and typically, even if they're not quote unquote legally living there, meaning they're not on the lease or, whatever, if they receive mail at that address, then it does show up on a background report as like a known location. And the only two people that I could find for that address at this time were Sarah and Stacy. And that's not 100% infallible for sure, but it's what we got. So anyway, Sarah seemed caught off guard when police showed up at her home on Friday, and it does not at all seem like this tip came from her. Like, she did not seem to know why they were there at first. She obviously quickly figured it out, but it doesn't sound like, oh, I called you, now you're here. Like, okay. If we are talking about somebody who lives in the house, the only person logically who is left is Stacy. He's been sitting in jail for months. He's facing federal gun charges. Could he have had a crisis of conscience?
Or is this a jailhouse snitch?
Well, maybe not so much a jailhouse snitch, because jailhouse snitches generally don't like snitch on themselves, but he could be trying to make a deal of some sort. And if you look at the couple's behavior on social media, a lot of it could, in fact, seem like a crisis of conscience. Sarah's TikTok account went dormant in 2020, but she came back in September of 2021 with almost exclusively religious content. There are a lot of Bible passages and talk about how Jesus loves everyone, but there's also talk about the rapture and how Jesus is coming back soon. So here's a clip from one video just to give you an idea of the general tone of these.
So, I don't know if I'm the only Christian that's noticed this lately, but since all this chaos started happening, I just noticed a lot of people seem to be pushing their witchcraft on here. And I'm not saying that people can't believe what they want to, because that's totally up to them. But as a fellow believer, I'm just trying to warn my fellow Christians or anybody that is seeking God that that's no good. That is straight talking to the devil and letting him talk to you. Don't forget, the Bible says that the devil disguises himself as an angel of light. So just because it looks good doesn't mean the brownies are on point. Sometimes they're burnt and you don't even know it till you eat one. You know what I mean?
The human body is fascinating, but did you know that scientists are now saying that your gut is the cornerstone of your health? It's not just about digestion. The gut affects everything from your energy levels and mood to weight management and even longevity. Most gut supplements contain probiotics or maybe probiotics and prebiotics, but Bioma contains all three essential ingredients that your gut needs: prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. And now you can visit gobioma.com/ATTWG today for an extra 15% off your order. That's GOBIOMA.com/ATTWG and get an extra 15% off. Each ingredient in Bioma is science-backed and third-party tested. You just need 2 capsules before breakfast to take the guesswork out of feeling your best. Go visit gobioma.com/ATTWG today for an extra 15% off your order. That's GOBIOMA.com/ATTWG to get an extra 15% off. If you've been listening to this show for a while, then you know that I'm a podcaster and a realtor. And on some days, like today, I have to do both. I spent all day in a courthouse watching a trial that we're covering, and then I had to drive an hour and a half away to put a lockbox on a new listing. It was a long day, to say the least, and normally I would have been exhausted at about 3 when I still had several hours to go. But I've recently been adding everyday dose into my morning routine, specifically into my morning coffee, and let me tell you, I was driving home late tonight and I felt great. Everyday Dose is coffee plus benefits. They combine high-quality coffee with powerful ingredients like lion's mane and chaga, collagen protein, and nootropics to fuel your brain, boost focus, and give you clean, sustained energy all day long. It tastes just like coffee without the downside. No crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy. Right now for Black Friday, get 61% off your first Coffee Plus starter kit, a free A2 probiotic creamer, and over $100 in free gifts. Plus, enter for a chance to win $100 cash or get your entire order refunded. Visit everydaydose.com/ATTWG or use code ATTWG at checkout. As the air turns crisp and the holidays draw near, comfort becomes the best gift of all. Quince delivers layers that last: sweaters, outerwear, and everyday essentials that feel luxurious, look timeless, and make holiday dressing and gifting effortless. Quince has it all: $50 Mongolian cashmere sweaters made for everyday wear, denim that never goes out of style, silk tops and skirts that add polish, and down outerwear built to take on the season. It's perfect for gifting or upgrading your own wardrobe. And we recently upgraded our wardrobes with Quince.
We did. I ordered a cashmere quarter zip sweater, and it is so soft. I love it.
Yeah, and you got a lot of compliments.
I did.
I also ordered cashmere. I got this short-sleeved sweater that was super cute, and I paired it with wide-leg jeans that I also got from Quince. So I got a whole outfit.
You did, and you looked so good in it.
Thank you. Step into the holiday season with layers made to feel good, look polished, and last from Quince. Perfect for gifting or keeping for yourself. Go to quince.com/ATTWG for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/ATTWG to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/ATTWG. So that was Sarah Wandra.
Okay.
It's a lot of that, but then also Bible verses and also the rapture.
I mean, she sounds like a loon, but I don't get any indication of kidnapping and murdering a child.
No. And that's what's so confounding about this is they both seem a little off, but not in a way that you're like, oh, yes, now it makes sense. However, there has been some more disturbing behavior since July 27th, 2021, when Michael went missing. Stacy's posts also had a religious slant to them, but not to the extent of Sarah's. His posts, to me, though, were even more disturbing. On July 28th, the day after Michael went missing, he posted about Michael's disappearance on Facebook.
Okay.
And on its face, on July 28th, nobody thought that was a red flag because, again, he lived like in the neighborhood, right? It's normal to post on Facebook about a missing kid in your neighborhood. So this is all of this, it's like only upsetting in hindsight. So he posted about Michael the day after his disappearance and then temporarily changed his profile picture to Michael's photo, which does seem a bit stranger to me.
I mean, yes, but again, we're looking, like you said,
in hindsight,
at things right through hindsight. So
he made Michael's photo his profile picture like days afterwards. And it was just his picture. It wasn't his missing poster. It wasn't anything like that. To the point where one of the comments on it was just from some like, random person who was like, "Oh, is that you? Like when you were a little kid." And he was like, "No, this is like a kid who's missing in my neighborhood." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Like that is a little odd. I think that's a little odd at the time, not just in hindsight. Sarah also started posting about Michael a few days after that, like the beginning of August 2nd, I want to say is the first post. And they both continued to like comment on posts and things like that. But what was the most upsetting to me is that after the arrest, when we found out who was arrested and I was looking into her and I found her TikTok account, I just, randomly like clicked on a few videos, and the very first video that I clicked on, you can see her fridge in the background and she has Michael's missing poster hanging on her fridge. And it's blurry and it's small and it's like you can barely see it. But like, again, I've been staring at these fucking posters for a year and a half and I knew immediately, like, oh, like that's the poster, because there are several versions, right? I'm like, oh, that's the poster that has his picture, and then it has a separate picture of the Minecraft t-shirt he was wearing when he went missing. And I pulled it up and I reversed it because like TikTok videos, it reverses it and it's the same fucking poster. And I think more than the social media stuff, seeing that was really upsetting. His little face has been looking at them every time they went into the fridge to get milk. And we don't have the answers yet, and we don't know what happened. But after a year and a half of basically nothing, the police felt confident enough to arrest this woman. And all I can think about is Michael's mother and family knowing that this woman is sitting in jail for concealing the death of their son, and his little face was on her fridge the entire time. And obviously, like, I've known about that all week, and like it really, and I've talked about it and I've watched the video several times, and I just didn't really hit me until just now how truly awful that is.
why do you think they would have that there?
I don't know.
If we are to presume that they or one of them took Michael, did something terrible, why would they put his missing poster up on their fridge?
Guilt, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a religious person, and I don't know if there's like some sort of penance, some sort of something involved in having to look at him every day.
This is like self-flagellation.
I don't know. I mean, we're just so speculating right now. I have no idea. I don't know. But it's not uncommon for perpetrators to like
involve themselves in the crime and, keep close tabs on the crime and things like that. Right. And so I think a lot of the Facebook posts and things like that could be explained in that way. But yeah, the poster is just on another level, I feel like. And I don't know the answer. But so getting back to like all of what we know now, right? The creepy posts, like their criminal history, the proximity to Michael's house, like there still seems to be a major missing piece, if not several major missing pieces, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still not coming together. It's still not making sense.
Correct. Yeah. This is not a crime that this couple, it's not their MO.
Exactly. It doesn't, it's just not something you're like, oh, yes, of course it's them. Like, no, of course, like not at all. Right.
Now, of course, not, nothing about any of these cases like this
makes any sense. Right.
But this one is like real left field because there's no indication of pedophilia. There's no indication of any real physical harm.
No, not that I know of, at least not
as far as their arrest records go.
Exactly, that I've been able to find, because again, when you switch jurisdictions, it's so hard. However, Sarah did talk in a TikTok post about how she was sexually molested as a child, but that's it. Like beyond being a victim.
Right, but that doesn't like how does that jump to
abducting and
abducting a child?
It doesn't, right? Like that's not an A to B line.
No,
at all.
Definitely not.
Like, but that is the only kind of connection, right? Like that's more of a connection than mail fraud.
Yeah, for sure.
But it seems as though if we're talking about Michael being in the neighborhood, then we need to talk about the neighborhood. Sarah and Stacy have only had intermittent employment. I mentioned, like a previous like business partner of Stacy's was accusing them of stealing. So in Oregon, they had like an auto body or auto mechanic kind of place. So I guess like that's what Stacy does. He's a mechanic. And so they had a business in Oregon. And I don't know if that's the guy who was like accusing them. I didn't look that deeply into it, but that's what they were doing in Oregon. Now, in Idaho, they had been running some sort of a taxi service. Like, I don't know, like some just like weird taxi service. Like that's what she's been doing. And then also on her Facebook, she said something about a laundry service that she had just launched. I don't know much about that. The taxi service seems to be like the main thing. So it seems as though like the couple is largely supported by Sarah's family. At her arraignment on Monday, Sarah said that her only asset is her car, which she co-owns with her father. Her father also owns the house on Red Wing Street where she and Stacy live. So they're the owners.
Oh, interesting.
I thought so. And then what's even more interesting is that I believe, but I'm not 100%, I believe it's her father and stepmother who own the house, but they also live in the neighborhood on a different street. So that's interesting.
No, wait. Who did you say molested her as a child?
Her biological brother. And apparently her biological mother like knew about it or was involved somehow. That I'm not sure about. But I don't know. Somebody can correct me who like really did a deep dive into her videos because I just simply could not. I don't believe like her father was involved in any of this.
Okay.
But she does refer to her as her biological mother. And I don't believe that's who the woman is who lives in the neighborhood now. But anyway, so her parents own the house that they live in on Red Wing Street. They live in the same neighborhood, in the same development on a different street. But there's a third relative who I think may be her uncle, though I'm just kind of guessing on that, who lives directly across the street from her on Red Wing. So 3 houses in this neighborhood are owned by Sarah's family. So there's that. Then also interesting about this neighborhood is, I talked about the 65 registered sex offenders. 3 of them live together in the house next door to Sarah and Stacy. They share a fence.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
No, it's a family. It's the Starkey family, and 3 of them who have that as their address are registered sex offenders. And not only that, their charges are related to minors. 2 men and a woman. So we need to take all of that into consideration. Keep that over on one side. And on the other side, take into consideration Chief Huff's statements. One time, he made a statement that said multiple people are involved, right? Like when they arrested Sarah, they said, we think that multiple people know what happened to Michael, which makes sense if they're only charging her with concealing a death.
Right.
The other thing, and this is where we kind of get into more theories, is he said more recently, within the last day or so, that he believes that multiple people know about the abduction and murder of Michael Vaughan.
Oh.
So he was very clear in that language. Like, I'm sorry, like he's been doing this. He's been doing this for a while in general, but he's been on this case for 1.5 years. You don't say abduction and murder without meaning it, Yeah. And so that brings me to one of the big theories that has been going around, because of course, like the theory is, Sarah and Stacy or the Starkeys or somebody else they were involved with kidnapped Michael, murdered him. They know about it, et cetera, right? The other theory, though, is that because they have this like taxi company, is that Sarah or Stacy or whomever accidentally hit Michael when he was out running around looking for friends, and it basically got out of hand. Like they covered it up, like they took him. Maybe he passed away then, maybe he passed away later, and they've just been hiding that ever since.
That's a convenient, easy, normal way to explain things, sure. But didn't one of the witnesses originally say that there was a group of kids playing in the neighborhood?
Yes.
So if Michael had been hit by a car, don't you think somebody in the group of kids that were playing around there would have seen it and said something or screamed or whatever?
Yes. Thank you. That is exactly my point. And not even that, right? Like even if nobody saw it because it's on like a side street or whatever,
they would have heard something.
Exactly. Because something like this just happened to us. And so at 2 a.m, like last week or something, somebody got into a single car accident literally right in front of our house. They actually crashed their car and went onto our next door neighbor's lawn. This is at 2 a.m. You didn't wake up because you just will sleep through anything. I don't sleep. So I was already kind of awake and I heard it, but it was loud as shit. And I get it. If you're dead asleep, like whatever, you're not going to wake up. But when Michael went missing, it was the evening. It was like 6:30, 7 o'clock, whatever. And at the end of July, it's still broad daylight. There are a million kids playing outside. There are people coming and going. There is not a chance in hell that a child could have been run over by a fucking car and nobody would notice.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Not even. Let's exclude the group of kids playing because.
Yeah, forget about that. Kids are dumb. But like.
This is a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where houses are relatively close to.
No, they're close.
It's not like they're farmlands.
No, there is farmland near them,
Sure,
but it's a lot of houses.
It's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like if a car hits a child, even if the child doesn't make any noise, like there's going to be noise.
Yes.
The accident from the people that get out and start whatever.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, there's just no way. It's not like they were driving through the cornfield and then hit him. Like it had to have been on a street with houses. And there's just no feasible way to me that could have happened at that time of day and nobody would have noticed. Yeah. Especially in the past year and a half, nobody would have said, I did hear something kind of weird. Like,
especially considering the outpouring of neighborhood support.
Exactly. Like, there's just no way. And so that's the common sense part of it, right? And then add that to Chief Huff's statement where he specifically said abduction and murder. Like, no, this was not just some accident that got out of hand.
So then the question is, what involvement do the sexual predator neighbors have with Stacy?
Well, so that's up in the air, right? Because, you hear like some people are like, oh, they don't really know each other. And then you hear other people say, well, actually, they would like help out with the taxi business. Like, so I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I do kind of wonder if it's like slightly a red herring only because the sexual offender thing has been on the radar from the very beginning. But I mean, if the police are that confident,
those tend to be looking in their
yeah. Yes. Right. And so I should talk about the search a little bit. So, they did slow down the search even though it's not done, and they did say that they were kind of doing finer searches, meaning like not so much backhoe searches, but like smaller instrument searches, but then also focusing on the inside of the house too. See if there's anything they could find there. So like that is shifting in terms of whether or not they'll get probable cause to search the Starkeys property. We don't know at this point.
Yeah, I mean that would be pretty tough unless you.
Yeah, you need more than just exactly. You need more than just like they're sex offenders. Like that's not enough, right? So we don't know about that. That part's still up in the air. As I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, this is far from the end of the story. Brandy Neal, Michael's mother, was caught off guard by the news this weekend. She just like wasn't ready to get into the mindset of searching for remains. Like that is the word that got her, right? I mean, which you can understand as a parent. Like she wasn't ready to tell her kids that Michael probably wasn't coming back. Lauren Mathias, the family spokesperson, told reporters, quote, "She is not doing okay." That is a direct quote from her. "We are not okay. I've had to tell his siblings that he might not be coming home," end quote. In addition to her having her child go missing, Brandy has spent the last year and a half getting bullied on the internet, which is what I was alluding to at the beginning. People judged every word she spoke and every tear she shed, and then gleefully posted about it. Some of it, was the same bullshit we always see, like she was crying too much, she wasn't crying enough, blah, blah, blah. But in Brandy's case, the judgment went far beyond that. I saw people outright accuse her and her family of not only lying about Michael's disappearance, but of being responsible for it themselves. And even today, like literally the morning that we're recording this, after the arrest, after everything, I saw 2 people standing by that on Twitter being like, yeah, no, they were lying. Like, they haven't been telling the truth. We were just pointing that out. Like, whatever. As horrible as it must be to have to come to the realization that there's a good chance her son isn't coming home, my hope is that this arrest and this search will lead not only to answers, but to her and her family regaining some of their dignity and hopefully some measure of peace. Michael Joseph Vaughan has been missing from Fruitland, Idaho since July 27, 2021. He was 3'7" and 50 pounds at the time of his disappearance. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. Michael was last seen wearing a blue Minecraft t-shirt, blue boxer briefs, and flip-flops. He was 5 years old when he went missing. He would be 6 today. Anyone with any information is urged to contact the Fruitland Police Department at 208-642-6006, extension 0, or contact the department through its tip line at findmichael@fruitland.org. You can see all the sources for this episode along with photos and videos at our website, andthentheywegone.com.
And be sure to follow us on social, and then They Were Gone Pod on Facebook and at ATTWG Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe and consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It will help new listeners find us. And the more people that listen, the more chances we have of bringing someone home.
Thank you for tuning into this bonus episode. Stay tuned after this for our original episode of Michael Vaughan's disappearance. And we'll see you here next week for a brand new episode.
See you next week.
And Then They Were Gone is hosted by Kona Gallagher and Ethan Flick. All research, writing, and editing is done by Kona Gallagher. Theme music is The Stork by Ketsa. Additional music is provided by Kai Engel. And Then They Were Gone is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file, Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.